Um, so thank you for tuning in. I am recording now, and today's call is a collection of some thoughts that I've been having since coming back from Summit, and also just even attending Summit. And I'm pulling out my paper here because I am going to be writing on this piece of paper to kind of show you guys a diagram that I could have put into a slide, but I didn't. But today I am speaking to people who have maybe gotten out of a routine and are looking to get back in a routine with Beachbody, but they feel maybe a little overwhelmed. They're like, oh man, I can see so many different activities that I've dropped that I need to get back into. And you're unsure of what to even focus on and maybe feel a little overwhelmed. I feel it's actually can be the same feeling that coaches have coming back from Summit. You know, sometimes you go to Summit or another personal development seminar and you have all of these ideas and a heightened awareness of things that could shift in your business, but you leave and you're a little frozen. You know, you're like, I don't even know what to focus on first and what should get my attention and where to begin. So I feel that it applies, what I'm going to share applies to both things. And first off, I just want to share that I've been there. Man, it's been 7 years now that I've been coaching, and I will tell you, I started with bright, starry eyes, just thinking I would never have a coach cancel. I thought I would never have a customer who would not finish a program and have amazing results. I never comprehended having a business building coach get to diamond or star diamond and walk away. You know, like I just was so naive to the like failures that could happen. You know, I thought the failures only involved someone saying no to me and having to get past that, or having to get past people's opinions of me posting on social media and things like that. And I wasn't always prepared for things and have not always handled things in the best way, and have definitely gotten out of routines before and had to get them back, get back into routines. I've gone to seminars before and come back and felt like I was in a coma for a few weeks. So I just want you to know I get it. Even recently, I was going through a depression, and that's hard for me to admit publicly, because overcoming depression is something that is such a big part of my story. And I just shouted that from the rooftops of, I found a solution for overcoming depression. And I was just so authentically excited and happy about that, and just felt like needs to be shared with everyone. Like, you can work out and you're going to feel better, and you can drink a shake and do personal development and you're going to be cured, you know? And I just authentically felt so excited that this would fix depression for so many people. And so for me to recently be hit with depression was very humbling, to feel like, you know, I'm back in this dark place and stuff like that. So you know, all of that correlates to what I'm sharing with you today, because this is my personal testimony to you that this stuff, it really does work, and it really does help if you're looking to get back into things. If you've been knocked off track for whatever reason, or you're feeling a little overwhelmed and you're not sure where to start. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is what I really should have just put it on a slide, but is this little circle. And this is something that kind of comes from a book that is called Atomic Habits. Sorry, I'm like stuttering through my words here. So let me kind of write this down for you 1 second. And then it might end up being backwards. I'm not sure how this will show up. But this is a little chart that I wanted to share. And let's see, I could actually probably I don't know how to flip it around. But at the top, we have identity. And I want you guys to go ahead and write this down. And it may seem a little trivial or juvenile to write this down, but if you would humor me, I'd appreciate it. So identity is at the top, and your identity and how you define yourself, how you identify yourself, influences the actions that you take. The actions that you take influence the results that you get. The results that you get then influence the beliefs that you create, and the beliefs that you have influence your identity, how you are defining yourself and what kind of person that you are. Now, you can kind of see like it's this continuum, and everything feeds one another. And so something has to change if you're wanting to create a new habit, a new result, a new belief system, or a new identity. Like something, you have to like create a stop point somewhere in this segue to create a different thing. Now, I kind of believe that there could be a different belief that comes within you from something outside of you, from a book, from an experience that you have. You could create a new belief. I do think affirmations work. I do think people can start with their identity, and I will start with that and talk about that a little bit. I do feel this is probably the most easiest to break the continuum and create a new continuum is to start with your actions. I don't know if you can start with your results. I don't think you ever all of a sudden get a different result from behaviors that you're taking and actions that you're taking. I think the results are typically always the same, but I do feel these other things are areas where you could create a new kind of flow of results and beliefs and identity in your life. I do want to talk about identity for a minute. And this is where I'm probably going to sound a little woo-woo for some people. But I'm reading a book right now that I just want to share with you, and I can't not talk about it when it comes to identity. And this book is called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I just think he has something really interesting to suggest when it comes to your identity. He points out that everybody has what is called a pain body. So a pain, like you're in pain in your body. So everyone has a pain body. And he points out that your pain body can only exist in the past or in the future. And so your pain body is constantly hungry and it's just starving. And so it feeds off of negativity. And so it's either looking to your past for what went wrong, why you were gypped, why you were done wrong, why you have a disadvantage, or why you are ruined or tarnished or whatever you want to call it. And so it's feeding off of that to stay alive. And then this pain body looks to the future and sees no possibility, no potential, no future, no possibility of change. Or it just feels anxious of, I can't control the future. I don't know what to expect in the future. And so it's feeding off of that. And our pain bodies just feed off of this negativity, and it's existing in the past, it's existing in the future, but it cannot exist in the now. And so this book was really interesting because he points out that in the now, there's never anything wrong. If you were completely present in this moment, then you're not thinking of anything from the past and drawing your identity from anything that has happened thus far, anything in your past. And you're also not drawing your identity from anything in the future, but you are drawing your identity from this moment and just your presence in this and just being in this moment. And I will tell you that like really has shifted my mindset about a lot of things. But I think it's just something to share with you guys, because I think many times as coaches come into this and maybe you're dealing with depression because your pain body is in the past, or you're dealing with anxiety because your pain body is like in the future, or your pain body is like ruling 90% of the time or whatever. That's not you. So your fears, your doubts, your hesitations, your concerns, that's not the real you. And I want you to identify that that's outside of you. That is a pain body outside of you, and it's not who you really are. And your pain body will try to, it knows it's going to die. It's your mind, it knows it's going to die. So it has this idea that something has gone wrong, and is looking for evidence for that. And I just want to let you know that you can live in harmony with your mind, but not let it rule. And that's not the real you. So everybody has it. And there was a book that was written, it's called The Mean Girl, Inner Mean Girl. Mastering Your Mean Girl is what it's called, but it talks about the same thing. It's worded as your inner mean girl, that everybody has that inner mean girl that's telling you that you can't do it. And who are you to dream big? Who are you to think that you could help somebody? You've missed the boat. It's too late. You've been working at this for 4 years and you haven't hit emerald yet, or like, give up, and I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That's not your identity. And so I wanted to start with that and share that. And if that helps you, whether that's meditation or, being those practices of being still in the moment, you can shift then your actions and your results and the beliefs that you have, I feel, through meditation and identifying with the present and who you truly are. But as I said, actions, I feel, are the easiest way to initiate a change in this whole little circle here. So that's what I'm going to speak about the rest of this time. And so with this, this is where I think many people use the term like fake it till you make it, because that's taking action and then recognizing that the feelings will follow. I also have heard John C. Maxwell kind of put it as actions first, feelings follow. That like if you wait until you feel like working out, you're going to be waiting your whole life, right? And the same thing happens with this business. If you wait until you're super inspired and super motivated, then it's not going to be very consistent actions, and so very easily you can start with taking actions. The actions will then create the feelings that you want to have. And so in this book, Atomic Habits, there are some suggestions that he gives in creating the kind of habits that are long lasting. And he talks about like the habits of like, okay, you are breathing every day. It's a habit. You're not even thinking about it. It's just an automatic response. Or hopefully all of us are in the habit of brushing our teeth, right? And say that because I've got teenage kids that I still have to remind, like before they go out the door, I'm like, did you brush your teeth? And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I think as we get older, right, that is a habit that we don't even have to think about. It's just like, of course, I'm going to brush my teeth every single day. I don't have to put it on a to-do list, for me to get that done. The book is called Atomic Habits. And I'm talking about it because he did speak at Summit. They had like a breakout session for the leaders, and he spoke there. And I will tell you, he was the worst speaker of all. He was the most dry, terrible presenter that I've heard from in a really long time. And I gained the most from his talk. And it's just so interesting how that is, right? And I think because as I was sitting there in that room, listening to him, I'm like, everything that he is saying is a repeat from this book. And I had just finished reading the book, so I was like, nothing is new here. Like, I know all this. And my mind wanted to just tune out. But instead I was like, okay, I'm going to more listen to what I need. What do I need to hear out of this? Like, obviously I'm here for a reason. What am I supposed to get out of this? And I took the most notes through his presentation and felt the most inspired through his presentation of what I need to do in my business to move forward and in my life. And so that was a powerful moment for me, to realize it doesn't require a glamorous, sparkly presenter. It requires hearing the truth. But he talks about when it comes to identity, I think something that he really says is interesting there, that he says that true change is identity change. When you claim something as, this is just who I am, this is the kind of person that I am, then you act out of alignment with how you see yourself to be. And that's why it's really important that you don't see yourself as who you were in your past or who you think you are in your future, because you will act out of alignment of who you define yourself to be. I've heard, I'll just mention Keisha as one example. I hate singling people out because I know many people do this as well, but when I heard him talk about that identity change, I just thought of her, because when I talk with her about goals or things like that, she'll say to me, she's like, I'm going to do this and this and that, because that's just the kind of person that I am. And I always just thought that was interesting. You know, it's just like, she always throws that out there. And I don't think it's because she read the book, you know, because it's been for years that she's used that phrase, but it's clear to me that she sees herself in a certain way that it's not an option for her to act out of alignment with that. And so, you know, I throw that out there because it would help if you think of, where do you want to be in this business, and how do you need to shift how you're seeing yourself? For me, one of the shifts I was aware of at Summit is that I get to start seeing myself as, I am a person who recruits. Like, I share this business and I am a recruiting coach. Like, that needs to be my identity. And so me sending out invites to the business and for people to be a part of this business is just a part of what I do, because that's how I define myself. So that was one of the shifts for me. But with the actions, I want you all to take, and I see people taking notes, this is great, but I want you all to take, how do I stop this? I'm sorry. I have my phone connected to my computer, so phone calls come through very loud. Hopefully it wasn't like too startling for everyone beyond me. But here's the thing. So I want everyone to take a moment here and to think of, like, what needs to shift for you in your business? What do you need to do for you to reach the goals that you have? And I'll let you write that down, be quiet for a moment, because I think you probably know what that is. I think you know what habits you need to create. If you need to keep writing them down, you can. I thought of that question for myself as I was sitting there listening to him talking. I'm like, okay, he's not going to inspire me, so I get to inspire myself, and ask myself, like, what habits do I need to create so that I can find some way to apply, like, what he's sharing with me. And as I shared with you, one of them was that I have been terrible at inviting people into this business. I've gotten it in my head. You know, there's a collection of reasons why I got to that place where I was so comfortable inviting to challenge groups and talking about, like, the products, but wasn't comfortable talking about the business as I had been comfortable in the past. And so my recruiting has not been where it's been in the past. And that's something that I want to change. And I'll tell you the reason why I wanted to change that, on a personal note, is I offered an Emerald retreat before Summit for my personally sponsored coaches. And I booked this huge house that would fit 25 people. And I had this vision of, like, oh, it's going to motivate so many people to advance to Emerald. I'm going to have a collection of new Emerald coaches. I've never done an Emerald retreat before. It's going to be, like, so powerful, and to connect all these Emeralds. And I didn't have a single coach advance to Emerald to qualify. I had a small handful of existing Emerald coaches qualify. And honestly, I was, like, initially kind of disappointed in that, like, thinking, okay, I've never had a seminar or a retreat this small and, like, such a few amount of people at a retreat. And I spent all this money, and I hate to admit this, but I was like, I don't know, like, financially, if this was, like, the best decision, or, like, kind of felt a little bit of, like, you know, maybe I didn't make the best, like, planning decision in this. But at that retreat, I was reminded of how, and this is what happens every time I do, like, some kind of coach get together, it is so beneficial, more for me than anyone else, because it reminds me that there are people, like, everyone, their life is so much better and they're progressing by being a part of this business. Even if, like, they didn't advance to Diamond and they're not maybe hitting Success Club every month, like, that they are succeeding. That, like, I'm helping them succeed, even if that success is not defined as what my it's easy to think of as a definition of success, if that makes sense. And I just share that because I've had some leaders tell me before, like, oh, I hosted a retreat and everyone who was at that retreat isn't even a coach anymore. And I'm like, but was it worth it for you? Because I'll tell you, that retreat was worth it just for me to remind me that I've got to get more people into this, because this is a blessing for so many people. Regardless of what they do with the business, like them being in this environment and in this community, I don't get to judge whether they were really successful or not, like because they're progressing in the way that they should. And so I felt this fire of like, I want to recruit. I want to like add people into this because they deserve it. And so that was one of my habits, that I was like, I want to send coach invites every day. And he talked about, like, when it comes to you've identified like the habit you want to create. Hopefully it has a strong meaning for you too, right? Like that, like there's a meaning why, like not just because I think I should, but like it has a meaning for me in that goal for that habit. And I loved the suggestion that he throws in his book. It's called the Seinfeld strategy. And it comes from somebody coming up to Jerry Seinfeld and asking him, like, how did you become such a good comedian? And Seinfeld shared that he writes a joke every day and he hasn't missed a day in years. And he goes, by writing just one joke every day, I'm in the habit of it and I get better and better. And this morning I was on Instagram and looking at I'll spend a little bit of time on my newsfeed, and just one of the posts that popped up there was from a coach on our team. Her name's Sarah. I'm going to say her last name wrong. Shradle. But she was at Summit last year, and she lives up in Canada. She's a downline coach on this team, and she is an artist. And she just draws and does watercolors. And I just think what she does is like such a unique style. I messaged her today. I'm like, you need to do illustrations for children's books. So if anyone wants to write a children's book, reach out to her because she'll do amazing on the artwork. But what I think I'm talking about her now is because she draws every day. And I'm like, that's why she's so good. And so she does a picture a day as her journal. And she'll just in her little sketchbook, write a little bit about the day and paint her day. And I was like, that is so cool that is just a part of who she is and what she does every day. That it's not a if or when I'm going to do it, but just that's who she is and how she defines herself and the habit that she has. So do it every single day. Whatever your habit is, you've got to identify that this is something that has to be done every single day. And that's how it's going to become a habit that you just don't even think about. And that's how you also get very good at it. He suggested an idea of printing off a calendar and putting a little X in the days that you mark that you got it done, and filling up that calendar, and don't break the streak. And I thought of our 100 morning workouts that are coming here and how the habit is just get it done, and the calendar that they printed off and writing that out. In my challenge groups, we this last month, in kind of preparation for this morning meltdown, did a habit tracker on Mondays. And we were like, okay, think of a habit that you want to create and put an X through this and do it for 30 days in a row so that you can create a habit. So I have that document. I can post it in our team page, and I'd love for you to do that with this habit that you're writing down that you can see would drive change, whatever it is. I'm assuming everyone's on here for business. It's a business goal. It would change your business that you're like, okay, I really just need to invite. I'm going to assume that's probably what for most people it is, that you get in your head about invites and you're not maybe consistent with that. I'm just going to assume that was mine, right? So we're the same, okay? So for me, it was I need to send a coach invite every day. I have not been inviting enough people to be in the coach opportunity. And so I loved his suggestion, doing it every single day and don't break the streak. His second piece of advice with that, though, is that when you do break the streak, because you're human, It's going to happen. We want to think we're going to be perfect and aim for that, but you're not going to. Don't miss twice. Don't miss twice. And because then you're creating a new streak. And so you're filling out those X's. If you miss a day, you make sure you get back to it the next day. And honestly, I think this would work with everything. As I was writing that down with, like, at Summit, I thought of my addiction to soda right now. I am accepting my addiction to Diet Dr. Pepper right now, and it's not necessarily something I'm like ready to change. But I thought of that like, you know what, that might be a cool like segue, that I just don't have it 2 days in a row, you know, like, so I'm not creating a habit. I'm like, it's just something I do every once in a while. So whatever habit it is that you want to create. I can testify that this works though, because I did this when it comes to washing my face. And that's going to sound ridiculous, but I used to not wash my face when I went to bed at night. And that probably sounds gross to some people, but like, it was messy. I felt like I was getting water everywhere. I had to get my shirt wet, and I feel like it always made a mess on the counter. And like, it just, then a lot of times I didn't want to like have to rewash like my hair, you know, I wanted to use dry shampoo the next day, and I felt like it would ruin my hair when I was washing my face. And so a lot of times I just was like, whatever, I'll just like wash it in the morning when I put a shower cap on and I have like my hair protected, and, you know, I'm not going to make a mess of the sink. And my skin like was not great. And it was one little small tweak. I found one little small tweak, and that was for me to use Neutrogena face wipes. And it sounds like such a small little simple thing. But once I just started using those, I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try wash my face at night with water and soap, whatever. I'm just going to use this wipe and clean everything up. And then I can use my toner, my face products and all of that. And it has been a shift for me, but now like I can't remember the last time I didn't wash my face at night. And I feel like my skin has gotten so much better. Like, and I know that that's a huge part of it because I found like one little thing. And so that was a cue. So that's the other thing I want to share with you. If I have another diagram here with you, because when he talks about new habits, there's 4 things that you need. And the first one, just one second, I'm writing this down for you. Don't worry, I'm looking at the time. I'm going to try to keep this short. But with new habits, he points out that you need 4 things. And if you've read The Power of Habit, he just words it differently. It's the same thing from that book. But the first thing is there has to be a cue, like something that reminds you to get it done, right? The second thing is a craving, like it has to be satisfying. It has to be attractive. Response, so it has to be easy. And then the reward, it has to be satisfying. So I'm sorry. So with the cue, like for me to get in that habit of washing my face at night, I put the Neutrogena wipes on my nightstand. And it didn't take long for me to be reminded, like, okay, don't even lay in bed until you use one of these, clean your face. I will tell you the craving of that, like, the tingly feeling I have, like it feels good. Like now if I like even think of laying in bed without washing my face, I'm like, oh, it just feels gross, you know? And I think we get that way with our habits. Like, with our exercise. Like if you're in the habit of exercise, like, you know, it feels weird to wake up and not exercise because that like the craving and like you just crave how good it's going to feel, right? Like it just feels so good. And I feel like that really goes into the response, like, that it's like, it just, I don't know, it's like easy to do because it feels good. And the reward, you know, they're like all essentially connected in that. But apply this and think of how you can create a cue for you when it comes to this new habit. So for me, my cue for sending out the coach invite that I identified for me is to send out a coach invite right after I do a workout. Because I was like, all right, that will be my cue. I did a workout. I need to send a coach invite. And he calls that habit stacking, where you identify a habit that is like so ingrained in your life that it's like just the norm, you know, for you to do every day. And then attach one habit to it that you're like, okay, I do this, and it's my cue that now I do this cue to that. But only do it with one. It doesn't work to be like, okay, I do my workout. That means I'm going to also send an invite and make a post and clear my inbox and like, make it very simple with just one habit stacked on one that is already existing and in place. For me, like my workouts have become something where like that, like I don't even question if it's going to happen every day. I'll tell you, it took me years to get to that point though, for me to like get in that kind of habit. And it took a big cue of really designating a big area in my house for me to do my workouts. I was thinking of this house I moved from right before we lived here. And my workout space was in the basement where I rarely ever went, like tucked away, where the only reason I would ever even go down in the basement was to do my workout. So it was very much out of sight, out of mind, right? It was not convenient. And so like your cues, they need to be very convenient of like front and center. I love something that he said in his book. He's like, the more important the goal is for you, the more important the cue needs to be in your environment. So it's like, I don't know, right? A big thing on your mirror in Sharp, or not in Sharpie, but in a like dry erase marker to remind you to do whatever it is. Like, you know, but that your cue needs to be like in your face, you know, and take up a big space of your environment to remind you to get it done. As far as like it feeling good, like I think there's a lot of satisfaction in just doing the things that you know you should. And so like for me, when it comes to the inviting, I'm like, I won the moment I send that invite. I'm not attaching my excitement to what they say, you know, but I am also going after, but I'm inviting people I want. You know, you do this long enough, you realize you want to work with people that you want to work with. And so I'm inviting people that I sincerely do want, but I'm removed from feeling that I did a good job based on what they say. So if I send that invite, I'm like, good job, you know? So it feels good to know like I did what I said I was going to do. I think even marking off the check mark on the calendar will give you that same thing, the satisfaction of like, I did it, I completed, I said what I was going to do. And then the reward of that, like if you need to give yourself a reward and say like, okay, I fill out this calendar, I do it 30 days in a row, like, you know, I will buy myself this, I will allow myself to do that, you know, whatever, that reward. I personally feel the reward of seeing my team grow is going to be enough of a reward for me, that I didn't need to set one for myself. But that was my personal feelings on that. So anyways, let me come back to my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything here. But that's really mostly it. I wanted to encourage you guys to identify just 2 habits that you need to create. So I know if you came from Summit, you're like, oh, but I've got a list of things I identify to change or to do, or you're coming back to this business and you're like, yeah, but I need to do this and I need to do that. I should have a website. I should have team shirts. I should have like yada, 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 yada. And I want you to identify only 2 things, 2 habits to focus on, because I feel that those habits become dominoes, right? And you'll have a domino effect of that. But also like just getting that set ingrained, then you free up the brain power to then set other new habits. But I feel we can only handle so many at a time. You know, when I was focused on getting my fitness like down as a daily habit, like that was my thing to do every day. I wasn't also like, okay, and I'm going to eat 100% perfectly. Like, I don't know, like it just needed to take one thing at a time. And I think you build upon, it builds upon itself. You know, once you get this down, it's so much easier to get this thing down and so forth. So in this business, I'll share on a personal note, mine was to send a coach invite after every workout. So every single day, I will tell you, I have sent a coach invite every single day since Summit. So I'm proud of myself for that. And my other one was to make a post every day except for Sunday. Like I feel like I've just gotten quiet on things. And, you know, when I'm not feeling the best or my energy isn't like where I know it can be, I tend to get in my head and think everyone can see right through me. And so it's better for me to just not even post at all than to like show up not at my best self. The problem with that is as I was dealing with depression, I just wasn't showing up, you know, consistently at all, you know, which is not fair, but then also creates a habit that I don't want, you know. And I also think that's just my pain body, you know, identifying with the past, identifying with the future, and being like, you know, you have to be 100% to have value to add. And I think that's a lie, you know. So I was like, I just want to get in a habit of posting. And even if every post may be surface level or not like earth shattering, it's okay. Because I just want to get in the habit of showing up every day and sending an invite every day. And those are my personal habits that I was like, if I just do those things, I feel it will create the domino effect moving forward. Now, it may be something completely different for you. It may be like I have a coach who shared with me, she's like, I really am so excited to focus on this morning meltdown for me and work on that for my journey, like to get a workout done every day for 100 days. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like you focusing on that, like will create such a positive ripple effect in other people's lives too. And I just think that's how it works. You know, as you focus on creating new habits in you, like you inspire other people to create habits for them that are what they need. So I just encourage you guys to focus on two things only. Print out the habit tracker that I'm going to post in our team page and fill out the little X's and create a habit of doing it like 30 days in a row. And when you want to get in your head about something, identify that that's not true. You can be like, okay, this is just my pain body. It's a normal thing. Everybody has it, you know, but it's not true. And identify like you're just going to take action anyway. And that then your belief will change. Then how you see yourself will change. But make those cues really big so that you can remember to get them done. Like, okay, what if you need to print off a dream board and you stick it on your kitchen, like refrigerator, or you need to, like, whatever it is, whatever the cues need to be for you, for the goals that you have. And the last two things I just want to share. This is speaking to the people who maybe took a little break. You don't need to make a big post explaining yourself as you come back. That is something that was talked about at Summit, and I was so grateful to hear about that. It was spoken in a different session. So like they put us on different tracks based on our lifetime rank. And so I'd get together with coaches from the team and ask them, what did you learn? What did you learn? And that was something that was said on another, I think it was in the diamond track, where they talked about like, listen, if you've taken a step back and you're kind of coming back into things, or you've taken a step back on your fitness, you're coming back into things, you don't need to make this big old dramatic post explaining yourself. Like, just show up and move forward. Like, just start taking action and like show people by your action and by your results that like you're changing. You don't need to explain yourself and all of this, because that's for you. Like, if you need to write it down for yourself, that's for you. But it won't really make sense to your audience, and it even just kind of confuses them. But the other thing I want you to know is that there was a lesson for you in the experience that you had of stepping back. And if you can identify what the lesson was, then it's no longer a mistake. It's no longer something that you did wrong, like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, the journey that you're on has been the perfect journey for you. And you've been learning exactly what you needed to learn at the most perfect moment. And so it's good and it's okay. And find the lessons that you learned and write them down. So make that a journal entry of like, I am so grateful that I like went through this experience the last few months of like questioning all the things, because this is what I learned, you know, and identify what that is, because of you having these experiences that you've had in your journey, like you will be able to assist more people than you were before. And your voice is needed now more than ever because of these experiences that you've had. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I just want to share with you that like you are not defined like by your past or by what happens, like, but there's just so much to share and to with other people as you're learning. And I do feel strongly that this business is a blessing for people, and like we do need to share it. And these programs, like I think of how I've been able to change so much because I have fitness as a routine, because I drink my shake every day, because I do my personal development every day. Like those vital behaviors, like I didn't stop doing those except for the inviting. I wasn't consistent with. But those other things like were not a part of my life before Beachbody. And I am so grateful that like that was drilled into me with those vital behaviors to get those down, because I have grown so much over the last 7 years. I'm so grateful for these lessons that I've learned. And you have learned so much as well. You have so much value to add and so much to share. And so I'm proud of you for being on this call and being like, okay, I want to move forward, because that's such a noble thing and you will do so much good in this world. And so thank you all for being on this call. I will share the recording in the team page, and much love to you all. Have a great day, guys.